Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. We are very, very delighted to be joined with one of our very good and loyal friends of Good Morning KSA, who keeps on coming back and joining us from time to time, sharing his expertise with us, as well as doing his community service through the program, of course, for the benefit of the people. And well, just a little bit before coming back on air, we were just talking about the unhealthy food practices and how it is that they could actually help sometimes relieve stress as well. Well, we would like to welcome on this note Dr. Nasser Al-Oud, who is joining us in the program. And Dr. Nasser is a professor of social services at Imam Muhammad University. Assalamu alaikum.
Dr. Nasser, me and Saima, just before you joined us, were talking a lot about stress and how maybe we can try to help ourselves to relieve some of this stress. And we were talking apparently through experience that women tend to be a lot more tough with stress, or tend to actually are substituted to stress a lot more than men. And since you're joined by two ladies, a little bit more about women and stress before we get into stress in general.
Sure. Let me just start with the fact that stress is, I think, the leading cause for death in the world. Actually, it's not directly lead to. Sometimes it's lead directed to the death, but it's just affect other disorder as well. So if you had a high, sometimes if you're more stressful, you may get affected easily than if you're just a normal guy. With regard to the women, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just made the women, although they have a lot of things to do and a lot of project at home or at work or in community as well. They're emotional also. The researchers said there is like connection between your emotion and your stress. So if you are just have what they call hard heart, you may be less stressful than if you have just soft heart, which is sometimes goes with, for example, if you see some baby crying or somebody just in a bad situation, sometimes you get stressed by seeing those situations.
Absolutely.
So women also found an old study that they are more stressful, being affected by such as those psychological disorders such as depression and bipolar and other mental health problems. But they are, their way of coping is far ahead than men, and they can adjust to their situation easier than men.
Is there different hormones involved in that? I mean, the different stages that women go through. We know that some people have postnatal depression, some women in particular, some women suffer from, let's say, premenstrual depression. Is this anything contributing to why women are more prone to stress than men?
Well, it's scientifically, I can't, say something about just the physical part, but the psychological part, as we see it in the clinic or in the community or in our own life, women, tend to cope easily with those kind of situations than men, although they face those situations and see it different because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them this way because they usually take the care of the children. They have to adjust themselves to the male lifestyle, and this is in general, by the way, and all over the culture. So some people said there are women more freedom than men in Western or Eastern. So it's the same. Women have the same characteristic, but it's the culture that's made them either they practice it or they limit themselves depending on which culture they live in.
Absolutely.
But generally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them even physically. I think I can't speak to the medical part of this, but I've heard that women are maintain good health than men, and their immune system and their self-antibiotic, all the stuff. So I think because the birth and other stuff. So this may also have them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them also stronger than men in adjusting themselves and coping to mental health and psychological problems in general.
Indeed. And I mean, as I remember reading a long time ago, that women are less susceptible towards having heart attacks than men, actually. So I believe that there is something by which a woman in some ways could be called stronger in the hormone levels when it comes to coping with stress, or perhaps maintaining the proper blood pressure levals even. But on this note, Dr. Nasser, as you mentioned early on in the program, the weather. And like, we are having fantastic weather here because it is actually a break from our day-to-day routine. Now, how would you say that weather impacts a person's mood, a person's stress level, and the day-to-day life?
Very good question. Actually, we spoke in this program, I think, 2 years ago, if I can just recall. I'm not sure they're in Channel 1 or Channel 2 because usually I'm, participating
You're a
in some
friend of the
such
Ministry of
programs.
Culture and
Actually, yeah,
Information at
it's
large.
called seasonal affect disorder. Seasonal affect disorder, which is the problem that people feel, gloomy, their mood they're down. It's kind of related to depression, but what's the main symptom of this is, and what's the affect this disorder mainly, it's the, hiding of sun or the clouds itself.
Absolutely.
And I remember in Ohio State where I was studying that time, they used to help those students adjust to the environment of seeing the sun because they have lighting therapy. So lighting therapy make your apartment is like a sunny day. Because when you go outside, it's like gloomy, the darkness, like you are in the middle of the day and everything is dark. This is make the people just feel unwanted to go to school and classes. They miss some lectures, and we used to go to the counseling center, help those students. And I remember just first time hearing about this seasonal affect disorder. I think this is like kind of a symptom of depression, but the physical and psychiatrists there, they told us this is like kind of disorder that has certain symptom. And by the way, we are not we didn't recognize this in our society. By the way, if you talk to somebody, this is like nice weather, he said, yo, this is enjoyable.
Absolutely.
It's, of course, but how do I see it myself? When I go to the state, I hate those gloomy day. But in Saudi Arabia, it's different because it's all the year sun.
Absolutely, sun
So
all
what
year.
I came up with is the cultural components and this, or the personal components, where I used to love this sun here, this weather on this kind of environment.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I hate it there, and I just once the day become like cloudy, also I feel this way. So what the people being helped in this process is just by the psychological intervention and social services that provide those individuals with some, process and adjusting themselves to this problem. It's called a seasonal affect disorder.
And as you mentioned, Dr. Nasser, I mean, some of these people, especially if we talk about parts like, example, the UK, some people who work very long hours would initially never see sunlight. If you leave your house at 6 or 7 a.m. and then you finish your working shift at 6 or whatever, you would never actually see sunlight. So this condition is very common in parts of the world where it's grey all day, or you cannot actually even see sunlight if you're working very long hours. But Dr. Nasser, initially we're talking about stress, and stress is something that we are all substituted to in different parts of our life and through different stages of our life. But what is some of the ways that we can initially reduce stress levels? How can we look at the situation as it is? Because in many times when we're stressed, we tend to overreact and we tend to actually give things more time than they're actually worth. How can we reduce our stress levels in general?
Well, I think it's the environment we live in right now with those kind of technology. Your mobile phone, included all those kind of services that provide you with those kind of news. Mostly like 90% are bad news. There's like explosion,
So
there
let's
is
not
like
watch the news.
flooding, there is like problems in political system. This is, by the way, make the people, and I'm just wondering with the people who subscribe to the services, because this is like made us more stressful than we use. We have to relax, and we recommend all to the people who, everybody have stress, but there are people who have more stressful than the other because of either the family problems or financial problems, medical problems. So those people tend to be more stressful than others. So for those people, we recommend us like 24 hours off. So no mobile, no cellular phone, no TV, just go and relax. Alhamdulillah, we have those nice deserts, by the way, either in summer or in winter.
Absolutely.
So when you just go outdoors and have those kind of relaxation time. The exercise is very, very important, and we recommend it too much for the people. Exercise make people like 20% to 30% less stressful. So when you have daily exercise, either like walking or subscribe to one of those clubs. So this is like the more you practice, the more you have exercise, like at least minimum half an hour, the more you relax. Women have those clubs in Saudi Arabia, and they to participate in those clubs, and we found them in one study in Imam University, found them like less stressful than others. So I think this is very important for the people. Also, you have to talk to the people who significant for you. I mean, the significant others around you, your wife, your friends, to just let them know that your mood is different. So you don't need like more bad news, and you don't need more stressful time. If your husband realizes that his wife is stressed, he should just recognize that's like taking 2 days off and go whatever places. He just takes some responsibility at home, take care of the kids.
Try to ease the load a bit. Try to maybe take some off her plate if she's got too much on
So
her plate.
if that
Try
means
to
that
ease
like
it off.
that means that the husband should tell the wife that today I'm in a bad mood. That means I do not want your nagging and whining.
We recommend this, by the way, in text message. Today I'm having problem with my boss,
I'm
and I
having
will
a
come
bad
in
When I
at
come
2:30, please, no talk, no responsibility. I will just come and sleep. Please take the kids to your home, your
Mother's house.
mother house.
This is
Weeks in a row, and you find those all family are stressed because they just ask a question about how they did, because this is like the future for the kids. This is the way that we test the stress is very accurately. So when you see those kids are doing exam, you find their father and mother are stressful because of the kids' exam. So what we recommend all the time is just not let people you are caring too much for them. Just give them some time. Try to ignore some of their
Their bad
mistake
moods, swings and so on.
and don't ask too much. Sometimes if you are stressed, I ask all the time, but I call you, I text me, just text you message. This is not the way that you deal with somebody. Of course, you show
So
them
how
that
do
you...
how do we deal with someone who's stressed initially?
just leave them alone and let them know that I found you're stressed, so I will just, postpone my message and my call and limit it to a certain number. Doesn't mean that I don't care for you, but I think it's time to let you. John Gray, well-known book, he said this: when the man goes to his cave and the woman has this waves. So just no
This is
talk.
Mars and Venus together forever.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
This
That
is the
one,
book
okay.
that's everybody just I think knows about it.
Indeed.
Okay.
But Dr. Nasser, very quickly, let me ask you for a comment as to what side would you be on? Like Russia said something different than what you said and what I said. That, I mean, if you just tell your spouse that today I'm in a bad mood, that means please do not dish out any of your temper tantrums or nagging or whining to me. Or what Russia said, perhaps it could actually stress out your spouse as well, so you're not supposed to say it. So which way is better? Should you announce it to your spouse or should you not?
How's that? I'm not stressed because of you. I'm stressed
Okay.
because of this. Just try to be honest and let your partner or whatever your friends or your wife that I'm just stressed because of this. For example, nowadays with the stock market, sometimes it goes up and down. Sometimes you have just noticed that you have problems in whatever.
Japan, the stocks
For
actually
example,
are really
this is normal. We call it the natural stress, the natural effect of stress. This is
Absolutely.
no way you can do nothing about it because like flooding comes and everybody's stressed. This is normal. So what I'm talking about is just sometimes we increase the level of stress by asking too much, try to inquire, try to be like, just
Pushing more.
pushing
Dr. Nasser,
more
we're
to let
running
them-
out of time, but
Okay.
very, very quickly before we go, can stress ever become something too serious, something that we should worry
Chronic.
about? Can stress become chronic? Can it actually lead to clinical depression?
Sure. Actually, all the mental health problems has this kind of stress, the most leading cause for those problems. But what we recommend for the people is just to relax and to get help from professional. I think we spoke in this program about the formal and informal. We recommend everybody just to go to those people who are specialized, like psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, clinical social workers, those people who could evaluate your level of stress and let you deal with it with either recommendation or getting medication sometimes. So stress is kind of affect all other disorders and medical problems and physical problems and mental problems as well.
Great. And with this, Dr. Nasser, we would like to thank you so much for joining us. And I would say that during our discussion, you let out a great tip for a lot of people to be going to the desert and just to hear the desert whispering to you, and it's going to make you forget literally everything. Thank you very much, Dr. Nasser. We
my
hope
pleasure.
that we are going to see you back in the studios of Good Morning KSA very, very soon.
Sure. Thank
And
you.
have a great day.
Thank you.
And a wonderful weekend ahead.